And this episode is brought to you by myself, Josh Stevens, and a Mr. Tom Schultz.
What's up, all you fantasy fucks?
So, we are going to bring a show to you guys about our fantasy football league, and it should be pretty much us listening to it, and who knows who else. Pass it on to your friends. Hopefully, get our name out there a little bit more.
Hopefully the other 10 of you can listen to it, give us some feedback, and just let us know if you guys want us to do this weekly.
Quick breakdown, we're going to do the first round of our fantasy football draft coming up. We're going to talk a little bit about each team, who's keeping who, and then the breakdown of what we think the projected first round draft will be. So, real quick, let's do a breakdown on each team. Actually, you know what? We'll go pick by pick, and we'll talk about the players on each team. So, the very first pick in the 6th round, which is our first round, Tom right now has that pick, and I have him projected going with running back Ezekiel Elliott. Tom, what do you think?
As long as he doesn't keep beating the Snow Bunnies or get severely injured, that's who I'm taking. It's a pretty easy slam dunk pick for myself.
Yeah, looking at his team, he's got Andrew Luck, Le'Veon Bell, he's got Dez Bryant, T.Y. Hilton, and Amari Cooper. 3 wide receivers, 1 running back, 1 quarterback. Has to go running back. Ezekiel Elliott is the slam dunk pick at that spot. So I don't think we really have to discuss much more than that. That's his pick. That's it. You can try to trade him the farm. I don't think Tom is going to go for that.
I already bought the jersey. Justin, I owe you $50. But, yeah, I'll be wearing that Elliott jersey draft day.
All right, round 6, pick 2. We have Spencer Camp. Right now, he's got running back, wide receiver. That's what we have him projected as keeping. C.J. Anderson, Jeremy Langford, Amir Abdullah, Brandon Cooks, and Dante Moncrief.
Spencer, your team kind of sucks. You did a little fire sale last year. It's kind of hard to pick who you're going to keep. This is one we really struggled with. We kind of threw a couple names in and out of there, but with how the remaining running backs look, I think you have to keep 3 of them, bud.
Yeah, we kind of went down the roster, and pretty much the best running back that was available that you could have taken was Ryan Matthews, and I don't think you think that high of Ryan Matthews, so that is the reason why we decided to give you Amir Abdullah, give you 3, it gives you a backup running back, and then you can draft a decent wide receiver. So that is why we have you drafting Treadwell, Laquan Treadwell, wide receiver from the Vikings. Now, I personally think you should take somebody like Michael Floyd or Eric Decker because they're more proven and they're a veteran, rather than relying on a rookie as your 3rd wide receiver.
Yeah, I don't think Spencer's in the mind that he thinks he could compete this year. Every time I've talked to him, he just says how shitty his team is. So I think going Treadwell is good for the type of rebuild. He could probably, if Treadwell does anything this year, he's going to be able to either sell him for the farm next year or use him as a building block for the future.
All right. I totally agree because I think Spencer's team sucks. So, I mean, it's a little rough. C.J. Anderson, he's okay, but they have no quarterback whatsoever. Wide receivers are pretty decent, but nobody throw him the ball. And they drafted Lorenzo Booker as well, so it's going to be a little tough for him to get all the carries that he thinks he's going to get. And then Langford is in a timeshare. Abdullah, their offensive coordinator or coach, already said that he doesn't even envision one of those running backs to get 1,000 yards rushing. It's rough for his running backs that he's got. His wide receivers I like. I like Brandon Cooks, he's all right, and I like Dante Moncrief. I think he's pretty decent too. So, again, it was pretty hard choosing yours. We really wanted to give you 3 wide receivers, but looking at the running backs, it made more sense to do it this way.
Spencer, trade for Ryan Matthews right now. He's sitting on my bench, super cheap. Just holler at me, boy.
It's possible. Going next, we're going to go 6th round, which is our first round, 3rd pick, and that is Alex, and he's actually got back-to-back picks. Actually, he's got 3 picks in the first round.
Absolutely insane.
A lot of picks in the first round. So his very first pick that we have at 6'3", we have him going with Corey Coleman. The reason why I have him going with Corey Coleman is because where's Alex at? We have him keeping LaShawn McCoy, Latavius Murray, and Melvin Gordon. 3 running backs. Then he's also got Jordy Nelson and Kevin White, two wide receivers. Now, he's going to basically be relying on a rookie wide receiver coming off of an injury in Kevin White. And it's kind of tough to go with a rookie wide receiver drafting your very first pick. But that's why we have him go with Corey Coleman and then going with Eric Decker with his second pick. Tom, what do you think?
It's a nice little 1-2 punch. I think Corey Coleman, he's my number 1 rookie wide receiver right now. I know everyone's on the Treadwell bandwagon. I just think Coleman's going to be explosive in that offense. If Josh Gordon comes back, it's going to be a nice 1-2 punch. I got Gary Barnidge. As long as RG3 can get them the ball, they're going to be making plays in Cleveland.
I like the fact that we picked the rookie and the veteran because Kevin White, you don't know what you're going to get with him. That's the unfortunate thing. He could be a boom or bust. Hopefully for Alex's team, it's not a bust because I think Kevin White's talented, but do I think he's a very, very good wide receiver? We don't know that yet until he's actually on the field showing something. Plus, with Jordy Nelson, he's coming back from a major injury, so you have to have that veteran wide receiver drafted, especially with Decker, or even if it's Michael Floyd, you can go either one of those for him because either one would be good for his team.
Yeah, I really like seeing Coleman. As long as Alex gets Coleman or Treadwell, I think it's going to be a nice little youth insurgence into his lineup. I don't think his team's going to be competing this year, but he's got a nice solid foundation with tons of draft picks this year and the following year.
Going with the next pick, we are at 6-6, so the 6th pick in the very first round.
6-5.
Oh, I'm sorry, 6-5. I skipped one.
You skipped Spencer.
Yeah, there's
Imagine
a reason
that.
why I skipped it. My bad. So Spencer with the 5th pick. Right now, again, we have him with C.J. Anderson, Jeremy Langford, Amir Abdullah, Brandon Cooks, Dante Moncrief, and Laquan Treadwell. That's right now his starting roster. Oh, God.
He's not going to pick quarterback. Everyone made fun of him for taking Matty Ice the one year, so he's not going to take one to like the 12th round, pulling your strategy.
I agree with that. He's not. He's going to hold off on quarterback for a little bit. He's probably going to take him in the 7th or 8th round if he's got that pick. But I see him going with another wide receiver because we are going to blast him on draft day. Once he makes the Treadwell pick, we're going to laugh at him so hard, and he's going to feel so embarrassed to where he has to take another wide receiver. So then, at that spot, we have you, Spencer, taking Michael Floyd.
I know you've been listening to the show, and I was talking up Michael Floyd as being the most talented Arizona Cardinals wide receiver. So you're going to listen to me and take Floyd. I like the pick. It's good for you. You're going to have a nice building block foundation for your team next year.
I do want to point this out, though. When we did have a conversation about the Cardinals wide receivers, I did say Fitz would end up getting an extension.
Yep.
And Mike laughed at me.
And boom, it happened.
Boom.
And your boy Palmer.
Yeah, there we go. Cardinals, all of them getting extensions. Got Honey Badger, Palmer, everybody.
They're going for that Super Bowl, man.
All right, so now Spencer's roster is looking like Anderson, Langford, Abdullah, Cooks, Moncrief, Treadwell, and Eric Decker. Michael Floyd.
It's not terrible.
It's not terrible. I don't mind it. You have Cooks and Moncrief, and then you have a boomer bust in Floyd and Treadwell. I mean, you could really rely on Floyd at that spot.
He'll be able to compete in that division with that roster.
Yeah. So, I mean, Spencer, as much as we make fun of your team, your roster is not very good. But you still have a decent roster after we drafted it for you. So
if you draft like we're telling you to draft right now, you might make the playoffs.
There's a possibility.
Don't listen to yourself. We're smarter than you.
Next, we have 6-6. That is Tim. And where's Tim at? Tim's got, his very first pick. Here we go. Doug Martin, Matt Forte, Antonio Brown, OBJ, and we have him keeping tight end Greg Olsen. So at this spot, you can go one of two ways, Tom. I think you can either go running back, get that backup running back, because Matt Forte, who knows if he holds up for the whole course of the year. But you also need that third wide receiver to compete with anybody.
Oh, yeah.
So what did we have him going with?
We got him going with a wide receiver from the Arizona Cardinals, John Brown. We know you love him. I think it's a pretty good pick. If he's your third wideout, your team's gonna be pretty good next year. I'm kind of scared actually.
I like the pick of John Brown, but the thing is that's hurting me right now is we have Michael Floyd and John Brown both picked above Fitzgerald.
Yep.
That's crazy to think of. The guy that just got the contract extension. The guy that could be the best wide receiver on the team. But most talented, I don't think so.
No. Brown and Floyd, they're both a lot younger. I think most people could see themselves keeping one of those two over Fitz just because Fitz's age. Last year, I think Fitz fell to the 9th or 10th round, which he had an off year, but still, that's pretty crazy for a proven wideout.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. Looking at Tim's roster here with his wide receivers, Antonio Brown, OBJ, and then you have John Brown as your number 3. That's not bad. You can't do much worse than that.
I really hope OBJ has that Kardashian curse since he fucked the ugly one. But, Tim, I like what you've done in this offseason. You're building a pretty good team, and you need to trade them to someone and have your whole team fall apart like you do every year.
Yeah, that's not a bad starting roster. You're only missing a quarterback, so when the next round comes around, or the next 2 rounds come around, you could get a backup running back, and then hopefully a quarterback, and then go from there. So next team we have, me at 6'7", first round, 7th pick. My team is falling apart. Arian Foster is shoving it up my hole, and it is not feeling good. So, Tom, what do we have me keeping, and what do we have me going with?
This was really hard to choose, but I'm giving you Todd Gurley and then four wideouts right now. Allen Robinson, Mr. AR-15, Keenan Allen, Jeremy Maclin, and your boy, Josh Gordon.
Who?
Josh Gordon.
Yeah.
He's back, baby.
He's back.
But with pick 6-7, I had to go running back since you were keeping 4 wide receivers, and I went with the number 1 running back on the board, which was Ryan Matthews. I know it's kind of scary. I don't like the pick right now looking at it, but there's really no one else I could see you taking that's worth that pick. So most likely you're going to trade for a running back. That's looking on paper, that's what you should do right now after looking at this, but it sucks.
Yeah.
No one wants those receivers even though they're talented, and they're keeping players not on their value.
Yeah, it's tough because Ryan Matthews is at that spot is the best running back. D'Angelo Williams is up there too with Bell missing 4 games, but the thing is he's only going to be starting the 4 games. So if you're going to rely on D'Angelo Williams, which is what I considered, it's tough because then after that you better have a running back that can go balls out that because he's pretty much done. And then after that, if you guys look at the top players left, it's getting rough. You have Danny Woodhead, who is not a starter. And then you have Frank Gore, who's a little bit older, Rashad Jennings, TJ Yeldon, Giovanni Bernard. I mean, the list goes on and on of mediocre to, it's tough to look at running back at that spot. If you're not landing a running back within the first 5 picks or not keeping those running backs, then it's going to get tough from there on out. That's why we have me going with Ryan Matthews, best available.
Yeah, it's kind of scary this year. If everyone follows what we're predicting, which it could change, but if it doesn't, that's, I think, 27 running backs being kept, which is normally we average 24. So that's, you might not think 3 is a big number, but it is. It's pretty crazy. I'm scared with Bell being out. I don't have another pick to the 8th round, so I'm going to be hurting for my backup.
That's gonna be tough with no backup running back. Next, we have Danny at the 8th pick. And right now,
did you guys see Danny propose to Jess?
It wasn't a proposal.
Oh, I just saw a ring on her finger.
It wasn't an engagement
like Disney
ring.
World or something.
It was on her middle finger. She was basically saying, "Hey, Danny, fuck you. It's on this finger," and that's all it is. So, yeah, if you guys see that picture, they were at Disney World holding hands. Mickey Mouse was there, and a bunch of other random stuff.
It was pretty cute.
Yeah, I guess so. All right, breaking down Danny's team, we have him keeping Mark Ingram, Stewart, Brandon Marshall, Randy Cobb, and the last pick, Arian Foster.
Danny loves Foster. And as soon as he went to Miami and now they're saying how great he looks, he has to keep him. He was struggling to find his fifth keeper before. I think you were trying to trade him Macklin for a while.
I was.
He didn't bite. Kind of sucks for you right now.
I'll tell you one thing. Arian Foster straight up fisted me hard. Like, no joke. Adam Gase, he played all the mind games. Oh, Jay Ajayi's the man. Jay Ajayi this, Jay Ajayi that. And then Arian Foster, once he was on that market, he was just hunting him down, walking him, stalking him. And then he knew what he was going to get. And it's so frustrating because Danny has held on to Foster this whole goddamn time, hoping that he was just going to drop him and cut bait. And I hate you.
It's tough.
Yeah, I don't know. All right, who do we have him taking? We have him keeping 3 running backs, 2 wide receivers. I think he goes wide receiver. What do we have him at?
The most overrated wide receiver in football, Doug Baldwin. According to ESPN's ranking, he's the number 1 wide receiver left on the board. Danny's been known to target vets. He doesn't really go after rookies in the first round. And it was between him and Fitz. I just had him going Doug Baldwin.
You know what? After looking at this list of players here, I could actually see Danny taking Delaney Walker again.
He loves Delaney Walker.
And now that I'm looking at it, I'm looking to see where the breakdown is. Maybe he doesn't have that Doug Baldwin love, and he shocks us all, goes tight end, and then maybe he goes wide receiver the next round and solidifies his number 3. Because with me, I think tight end is so deep. I'm sorry, not tight end. I think wide receiver is so deep. You could get a top tight end such as Delaney Walker, especially how good he did last year, and lock him up and then go with wide receiver later on.
Yeah, 'cause he should be scared of Alex with the next pick taking tight end. So I wouldn't be opposed to that pick because I absolutely hate Doug Baldwin, but I know Danny's not going to be listening to this because he loves Jess so much.
He's busy holding hands.
Yep. Probably hasn't looked at his fantasy roster in months. God damn you, Jess.
Ruining him. All right.
We miss the real Danny.
Yeah, he used to be fun.
St. Louis Danny, it was fun. When we visited Spencer and you were hitting on all those bitches, getting all them numbers. Hope Jess isn't here.
Yeah, hope you're not listening to this, Jess.
Or when we grinded on those girls in Indy.
Well, that was pretty funny.
She wanted to kill me and him. And
yeah, that was weird.
Whatever.
All right, next team we have Alex again for the goddamn 3rd time.
He's cheating.
I mean, he's just getting picks upon picks upon picks. The thing that creeps me out the most is he mailed it in last season. He knows it. We all know it.
Oh, yeah.
But even right now, looking at his team, like, still 3 decent running backs and 2 wide receivers that are pretty decent. They were hurt and a rookie.
Mm-hmm.
And his team is still not sitting that bad. Plus, he's got 6th-round picks this year and 6th-round picks next year. And I still think he's got 2 6th-round picks the year after. Maybe even 3. Who knows?
Yeah, it's an absurd amount. His whole draft this year is insane. I think he's done by the 11th round, but he's got 3 6s, 4 7s, like 2 8s or something.
So pretty much we, again, to recap, McCoy, Murray, Gordon, Nelson, White, and then we had Alex taking Corey Coleman and Eric Decker. So he's loaded at 4 wide receivers, 3 running backs. There's only one of 2 ways you could go. You can go quarterback or tight end here. And if I think that Danny might actually take tight end at that pick 8, I think Alex goes quarterback here.
I do too. We're going with the number 1 quarterback on the board right now, Russell Wilson. Alex likes those black quarterbacks who are quick and run. He was in love with RG3 for the first couple seasons, was rolling with Mariota for his rushing ability. It's a smart move.
Yeah, I'm in total agreement with that. I think that was the one pick that we really thought stood out at that spot. You're 3 and 3 deep, or 3 and 4 deep. You take quarterback at that spot. There's no tight end that's really worth it, unless if Delaney's there, you can possibly think about doing it. The other quarterback that I thought that he could possibly go with is Drew Brees.
Who he should go with.
Yeah, you can go Brees or you can go Wilson. I think either pick actually, honestly, is completely fine. Even Big Ben would be in talks a little bit, but Big Ben, he's just not as durable right now. He's been injured the last couple seasons. Brees or Wilson right there, the picks in my opinion, but I think he goes Wilson because of the rushing ability. Anything else?
That's about it.
All right. I think if you have Russell Wilson starting on your team and then you have those 3 running backs and those 3 wide receivers, or 4 wide receivers, that's actually not a bad starting lineup because you're in the first round and your team's almost locked up minus your tight end, defense, and kicker. That's outrageous.
Yeah, his team's going to be scary deep. Bye weeks aren't going to affect him at all like a lot of the teams in the league. I think, personally, if he has this draft in the first round, he's going to be the favorite to win that division, in my eyes.
Not bad thinking. Next pick, we got Michael Big Dick Agent. His team right now, well, that's what he likes to call himself, not what other people call him. He's got quarterback Aaron Rodgers.
The worst brother in the history of the world.
Running back Eddie Lacy.
Fat boy.
Running back Deion Lewis.
PUP already.
We have Devontae Parker.
PUP.
And a Mr. Tight End Jordan Reed.
One more concussion, he's done.
Yeah, you look at Mike's keepers, it is rough going right now.
I love Devontae Parker. He keeps getting injured. Like, Mike was going to keep Yeldon, but now he wants to keep Lewis, and that's just a shitty situation.
I think what sucks with Lewis is he's on the PUP right now, currently, and they can take him off anytime. Hopefully he does not start the season on the PUP because that is 6 weeks he is deactivated in a sense and cannot play. Deion Lewis is the most explosive running back on that team now for the Patriots, and all he's contending with is LeGarrette Blount and I believe James White, and James White is pretty much a pass-catching running back. So, I mean, Deion Lewis is kind of the same thing, but he can also run the ball when he's in shotgun as well. Devontae Parker, it sucks for him right now because it was looking pretty for him.
Oh, yeah.
And now he's injured, and it is just, you go from person to person to person to person on the team. They have so many issues going on right now. I feel bad for Mike, but I don't.
Last season, he just started so hot. He's like, finally going to make the playoffs, and his team just sucked after, like, week 6.
That's all I needed is just for him to...
Boom. I want to see Mike in the playoffs. I know he wants to win the Starfish so fucking bad. Like, that's one of his life goals, that and having Gabby die and then him marrying an Asian chick. But besides that, it's to win the Starfish. It's just not going to happen this year, Mike. I know you're probably going to be cussing us out Monday when we do our next podcast, but...
So right now we have him at quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end. Obviously, he goes wide receiver at this spot. What wide receiver do we have Mike taking?
He loves the Jaguars, so we're going to give him Allen Hurns.
I like it. I like the pick because he is a big Jaguars nut hugger, and I think that's the pick that he would actually make when it came down to that spot.
Yeah, it was between Hurns and Larry Fitz. I think either of them could go to Mike, but just his Jaguar love right now is kind of outrageous. So we went with Hurns.
Yeah. And even if you have Hurns as your second wide receiver, it's not that bad, even though pretty much Kevin is telling you to go F yourself because he's got Hurns as his, like, 6th wide receiver on his team because Kevin is just super stacked. Oh, look at that. We're getting to Kevin right now. Kevin is at pick 11, right after Mike. And Kevin had so many keepers, in my opinion. So many mediocre keepers. You could keep in, like, whatever you wanted at this spot. But we have him keeping quarterback Cam Newton, running backs Thomas Rawls and Carlos Hyde, and then wide receivers Alshon Jeffrey and Golden Tate. But he could have kept Decker. He could have kept, Hurns. I mean, he had so many options at this spot.
He had like 3 number 2 wide receivers who should be kept in our league. It's absolutely insane. His team was awesome last year. Probably the biggest surprise. D'Angelo Williams helped carry him. And Thomas Rawls trade. Cam Newton was amazing for him. He just traded for Alshon Jeffrey. I really think he's going to keep Tate. Just him and Decker. To me, Tate's a better player.
To be honest, at this spot, you could go one or two ways with Carlos Hyde. You could keep Carlos Hyde, or you can get rid of him and keep Eric Decker at that spot. I don't know what you do because if it was me, I don't know if I would want to roll with Carlos Hyde as my second running back, especially a keeper, because I don't even think he would have been drafted in maybe mid-first round. I know I wouldn't have drafted him if he was there. I would still take Ryan Matthews over him if he was still there. But do you keep Decker and risk no running back at that spot because your best running back is D'Angelo Williams and then Woodhead after that? That's rough to rely on your second running back like that.
It's ugly. If you go off ESPN's rankings, if Carlos Hyde was thrown back in, he'd be the second best player available behind Zeke Elliott, and he'd be gone with the first pick. So
and that's crazy.
That's why I see Kevin taking him. I feel like he relies on the rankings a lot, which nothing's wrong with that. But I wouldn't want to roll with Hyde. Just
my favorite part about Kevin is he only talks to me. All I gotta do is mention work, and he's on my hook.
You're about the only person who could trade with him.
Yeah,
must be nice.
I've maneuvered some trades before with other people with him. I have to go through them to go through him and then make it work. I'm a team player. So we have him taking Fitz at that spot, and pretty much you have Alshon Jeffrey, Golden Tate, Fitz, and then you got your two running backs and your quarterback. I think you're pretty set up at that spot.
It's a pretty good start.
Yeah.
Running backs are kind of scary. I know Rawls, it's only his second year. I really like him this year, but he's been injured. They drafted a bunch of running backs.
I have Rawls a little bit down this year. If you guys have been listening to our podcast, hopefully. I know some people have, Joey and Justin and Spencer. I know you guys listen to it. So I have Rawls down this year. I think I got him rated. I don't have it in front of me, but I think I got him like
28.
Yeah, 26,
crazy.
I think. Reason being, I don't think he's going to stay healthy, but I don't know. They drafted 3 running backs for a reason. They still got Christine Michael. They're going to run the ball, and I think they're just going to go with the hot hand, and I think it's unfortunate for Rawls because he runs hard. I love the way he runs, but I think he just runs so hard, he's going to get himself hurt.
Yep.
All right, next, last pick in the first round, Mr. Irrelevant, if you would say so.
The champ.
The champ, we have Joey. His team is looking pretty decent. He's got a Mr. David Johnson at running back, newly traded for Jamal Charles. He's got Julio Jones. That's a shout out to Mike for his mispronunciation.
Got Edge Green.
Edge Green. And then he's got Thomas. I'm not even going to give him his first name because I hate him that much. So
Joey's team's stacked like usual.
Yeah,
made some good trades in the offseason.
You know what pisses me off so much is that he has Megatron retire. And then you got people like, who is it, Tim? Oh, you want this guy? Here you go. Just take him. And then Joey maneuvers and makes the trades that he needs to make. Gets Jamal Charles, goes 2 running backs to get a stud running back coming off of an injury, though. So we do have to remember that. But he just loses players and reloads like it's nothing.
Oh, yeah.
Blows my mind.
He's like University of Kentucky basketball team.
Yeah, pretty much. And Joey doesn't know who that is, so look him up. Because he doesn't like college sports. Look that up, Joey. They are phenomenal, and they just keep reloading and reloading and reloading.
Yeah, their whole starting 5 leaves, and then they get 5 players who are better.
So looking at Joey's team, you could go quarterback, you could go tight end, you could go with, what I think he's going to go with is a backup running back because that is the most, I don't want to say important position because quarterback is, but it is the most important backup position, I believe, especially during bye weeks where if Jamal Charles goes down or if David Johnson starts splitting carries. So we have Joey taking, again, because he loves him, Giovanni Bernard.
I like the pick. Gio's proven that even though he's not the workhorse, that he can be a productive bye-week fantasy fill-in. Joey likes the guy. He likes them Bengals. It's a good pick, and Joey's gone, I think, running back with his first pick like 3 years in a row. He likes to wait on quarterback. I think he might jump a little early with tight end this year, but he's going to be waiting on quarterback again.
I like the Giovanni Bernard pick only for the fact that they really have nobody left at wide receiver, and I think they're going to split him out in the slot a little bit like they did last year and use him more of as a wide receiver, running back, wide receiver type combination.
Yeah, especially with Eifert out for a couple weeks most likely. Gio's the second most reliable wide receiver in that offense. He's going to be catching the football.
Yeah, again, looking at who's left, I mean, besides Gio, and it's funny because we have Gio probably what is that, the one, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7. On ESPN, he is the eighth best